So having said that, Madam Clerk, we'll turn it over to public question period. The gentleman. If you could just state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm here in support of Pat Mullen in terms of representing the interests of the residents in this area on this subject. I'm actually a resident of Park Royal, but I've been actively involved in terms of coordinating communications with residents because our area is affected as well as theirs in a very similar way. There's another restriction with regards to the rules that you read. I just found out this morning is that when a resident comes to present their question and wants to provide context, they are restricted to only 2 images. So my comments may be a little disjointed. I've got 2 images here, and I'm just trying to adjust for that. The first image, sorry, can you put the other image up first? Thank you. My mistake. I did say that wrong. Can you go back to the other one? Okay, in this case here, this is what's currently being recommended, or this is Commissioner Wright's understanding of what was being proposed back in September 2021. And it identifies the number of speed bumps as 12 on Orr Road and 4, and there's Bullards on Meadowood North. Now the struggle here is that Commissioner Wright and his staff have an understanding that is not shared by the residents. And the reason for that is the manner in which the information is communicated. In effect, there are three-page letter that goes out which link to 6 web pages, none of which provide this information. But there is one tab that can be clicked on that people don't generally see. The second problem is that hundreds of the most affected residents, including the vast majority of people south of that arrow where those 2 roads intersect, apparently did not receive the letters. And that's been communicated several times. There's an active discussion group of about 47 residents addressing this issue and communicating the concerns to Councillor Mullen. What else on here?
If I could just, and I guess I understand some of the confusion. So this would be more of a deputation as opposed to a question period. So I do want to just encourage you to get your questions in before the time goes. So
I fully understand.
Yeah. So just want to get those questions out if possible.
I understand. Thanks. To me, as I approach this, I wanted to clarify context. It would have been easier to flip through things. The other point I wanted to make is the people who did not receive this included virtually all of the members of the Ratepayers Association. They were simply unaware of this. If we could go to the next slide. Now, this is what happens in the Park Royal area when people found out what was going on. If you look at the bar graph, the item on the left is the response by residents when they read the materials and they understood there was a traffic calming study going to be done. And there was going to be a public meeting afterwards. The 6 web pages detail it in great detail, policies and procedures. What happened was a resident became aware of that after, I guess, the 4th week, and so distributed the information on the left to the residents. When that information went out, you can see the response on the right for the no's significantly exceeding the yeses. At the same time, the people that initially voted were not able to. Their vote was locked in. So just understand that context. In terms of, legitimately, I think I can only ask one question. I only tabled one question 24 hours ahead of time. I do have another question, but I'm not sure that would be legitimate in terms of the rules. So I had hoped not to read this out in detail, but I'll just go ahead. So this is the question that I submitted. With regards to the proposed traffic calming in the Clarkson-Meadowood community south of Lakeshore, could Councillor Mullen please indicate to the General Committee approximately how many residents subsequent to March 1st have communicated to her office their surprise and concerns with regards to the following? They're surprised that they were completely unaware that Road Safety thinks a 3-page letter was distributed to affected residents. They were surprised to learn that there was no subsequent traffic calming study nor a subsequent public meeting. They're surprised that Park Royal residents were getting a revote and they were not. They were surprised about the lack of disclosure regarding the predetermined number of speed bumps and no provision for stop signs, which is the preferred solution by almost all the residents. in addition to perhaps to speed bumps. Very concerned about the lack of engagement with Peel Police, between road safety and Peel Police, with regards to identifying these as priority cases for the speed bumps. I could go on, but my time is up, I guess.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm going to do you have a question specific for staff? I know you mentioned Commissioner Wright a few times, and I believe that Councillor Mullen will be speaking to this when we bring the report forward. So do you have a specific question for staff?
My understanding, it was councillors that I was presenting the question for.
I'm just asking.
I didn't think it was restricted to staff.
I think, in fairness, Councillor Mullen will speak to the report when it comes forward, and she'll address your questions at that time.